This is the first call for Class 1 of the Weather Dam Doe Show. Now entering the ring is Class 1 of the Weather Dam Doe Show, age doe born 2019. This is the first call for Class 2. Please be ready ringside.
We have a single entry out here in our age doe division, and a really nice doe. She's long bodied, she's bold in her rib shape, she's feminine up through her front end, stands on fairly decent structural build underneath of her. I really admire her mammary system that she carries underneath of her. Just a really nice doe. I wish she had some more competition to compete out with this doe. If you would, give him a nice round of applause.
First place, Tommy Fogarty. Next in the ring is Class 2 yearling does.
Pretty self-explanatory class. The horn doe, she's going to win the class. I think she's better structured. She's better in her rib shape, yet she's feminine and long-bodied. If we're going to fix anything about her, I just would like to stouten her up as far as her muscle shape. I'd like to make her a little stouter in her hip shape as well, but just a really nice doe to go ahead and win the class. Our long feminine body doe is going to be second. This one is extremely extended in her front end. This one simply needs to be heavier muscled and wider based and she needs to be a little bit more soft and capacious at the center part of her body to get to compete with the doe in front of her, but still some usable pieces as a breeding project for the young man.
First place, Joseph Marchek, and in second place, Tommy Fogarty. Next in the ring, we have Class 3 Fall Does.
Really nice doe here. Just a doe that's opened up in the bottom side of her structural build, one that's really good chested. I love for how much meat and muscle this one has in her. She's good hided, yet she's still yet feminine up through her front end. This one's big and bold and capacious in the center part of her body. Rounds out with a super stout hip. If I'm going to get hypercritical on this one, we could turn her hocks out just a notch. We could straighten her up in her rear leg, but I think this one's awfully good in her own right. Definitely deserves a blue ribbon today.
In first place, Ruger Talbot. Next in the ring, we have Class 4 Spring Does. Currently in the ring is Class 4 Spring Does. Following this, we will have the Weather Dam Doe Drive.
Really nice doe to start the class with. A young lady in the FFA jacket. Love the extension up through this one's front end. Her blade's short. She's round bodied. This one's capacious and soft in the center part of her body for a weather dam. Just a really nice doe. If I'm going to get critical on her, from her hip loin transition back, I'd like to level her up in her hip, fix her off her rear legs, but I think that one's awfully good. The doe that comes in second is a really nice doe as well. I love the extension up through her front end, long bodied, leveler made than our first place doe. She just doesn't have the rib shape or the dimension down her top. She doesn't have the rear leg set like the doe in front of her, but still a really nice competitive type doe. If you would give these two exhibitors a nice round of applause.
In first place, Macy Olin, and in second place, Brisa Gutierrez. Next in the ring, we have the Weather Dam Doe Show. Just kidding. In first place was Brisa Gutierrez, and in second place was Macy Olin. Now we'll have the Weather Dam Doe Drive.
our Weather Dam show division out here was a little bit small, but definitely we have some quality, and you guys should be appreciative that the show staff took the time to split these guys into the right classes, as we have our old doe all the way down to our lighter weight doe on the end. I think when we talk about just meat and muscle and power and structural correctness and boldness of rib, yet femininity and just capacious abilities to carry young, there's one doe out here that does it extremely well. The young man in the 4-H hat, he's going to be our champion. Then it gets a little bit closer as far as reserve, but I think there's one that kind of pairs up to that one, and as far as similarities of build and structural, it doesn't carry the power and the substance that our champion has, but she's still very similar in a lot of attributes. The young lady in the FFA jacket, she's going to be reserve.
Congratulations, your champion Weather Dam Doe goes to Ruger Talbot, and reserve champion goes to Brisa Gutierrez. Next in the ring, we have Class 1 of the Meat Goat Show. Don't take my... Currently in the ring is Class 1 of FFA Meat Goats. This is the first call for Class 2. Please be ready.
The one that's going to win this particular class, just a really good-bodied goat, really fresh to the touch. I love his muscle definition. I love his underline. Where I run into some issues with this goat is his structure is quite a bit off in his knee. His joints need to be straightened up. He needs to be more pliable and flexible on the front leg. But I still think this one is ultra good as far as handle and three-dimensional shape. He has to win the class fairly easily. The goat that comes in second is very good in his own right. He's level in his type and kind. He handles with some quality, and I think he's fed to the best of his genetic abilities. We just ran out of natural structural build and integrity and muscle shape. The young lady's done an excellent job getting this one fed and shown. The goat that comes in third is very similar to the second place goat as far as type and kind. We just don't have as much meat and muscle laid in this one's rack and back into his loin to move him up any higher in the class, but still a nice goat. The goat that rounds out the class, unfortunately, this one just doesn't have enough muscle up top. He's not as big in his loin edge. We ran out of kind of just genetic potential on this one to compete up any higher in the class, but young man's doing a good job getting that one presented today.
In first place, Josie Peak. Second place, Mariela Nava. Third place, Sarah Faircloth. And in fourth place, Michael Booth. Next in the ring, we have Class 2 FFA Meat Goats. Currently in the ring is Class 2. Following this is the FFA Champion Drive.
Going to start this class off. The red-hipped goat, I think, wins it pretty easily as far as structural build and balance and body shape. This one's the shortest in his blade. This one's the longest in his body, and yet this one handles extremely well. If you're going to get critical on this guy, I think we could bring him up in his chine just a bit. I think if we could do that, it would just tie that goat together that much better. He gets a little lazier to his top, but I still think that one's ultra good. The goat that comes in second, this one, I checked his mouth. He's getting a little bit too mature for me in that aspect, but I still think this guy has so much quality as far as muscle shape up high. I just think he's getting a little bit past his prime, getting a little bit more condition in his chest floor and right to the top side of his rib. But young man, you've done an excellent job holding this guy together for as good as he is. The goat that comes in third, doe kid that's long-bodied, ultra extended through her front end, just doesn't have the meat and muscle compared to the two in front of him. Gets a little softer to her pasterns, but still a nice goat there to be third in the class. Our big and bold and heavy structured goat is the one that's in fourth, but unfortunately he doesn't have the muscle to match his bone work underneath. He gets a little softer to the touch. He doesn't have as much handle in his loin and back into his hip, and that's why he's going to round out the top four in the class. If you guys would, give him a nice round of applause. Very competitive class.
In first place, Kimberlyn Alderman. Second place, Ryan Olson. Third place, Kayla Daughtry. And in fourth place, Ira Mavalos. Next in the ring, we have the FFA Champion Drive.
Our FFA show is pretty small, but the quality is extremely good as far as touch and handle and just body shape and composure of holding these guys together. Our lightweight champion like that one's body an awful lot. I love his rack shape. I love his loin definition. You get alongside of this one, and this one is as big and full in his hind end as you can make one. Where I run into issues is I hate this one's joints, and he gets too rigid for me. He wants to push into his knee. He's not sound enough for me. But there's so many good things about that goat that you have to admire and you have to like him. The goat that wins the heavy division, that one is ultra good as far as his structural build and balance, and this one's handles extremely good. But like I said, it bothers me just a bit. If we could raise him up in his chine just a hair, I think that one would be ultra special. I still think he's awfully good. He's going to be our champion. Our lightweight's going to be our reserve.
Congratulations, your FFA champion goes to Kimberlyn Alderman, and reserve champion goes to Josie Peak. Now entering the ring is Class 3 4-H meat goats.
Single entry out here, but I think she definitely deserves a blue ribbon. A really nice doe kid as far as structural build and balance and symmetry, and then you put your hands on this one, and she's big and full and fresh in her top shape. If I'm going to get critical on her, I'd like to fix her structural build a little bit. Even though she's good through her front end, I'd like to fix her hind leg set just a notch, bringing her up on her pasterns a hair, but that's getting pretty critical. I think she's pretty good doe kid. Congratulations.
In first place, Alina Berry. Next in the ring is Class 4 of 4-H meat goats. Currently in the ring is Class 4. Following this is the 4-H champion drive.
The young man with the 4-H uniform, he's going to be our champion in this particular class. Just a really nice goat. A goat that's shown a little bit more maturity for my liking, but I think that one's good in his body cavity still. I think that one's fresh in his loin shape. Just a really nice, well-balanced goat to be our champion in this particular class. The goat that's going to be second here, long and extended, youthful still, a really big, growthy type goat that still carries a lot of structural integrity underneath. He just doesn't have the build and the balance compared to the one that wins the class, but still a really nice goat. Young man, both of you guys have done a really good job keeping these big heavyweight goats still fresh and attractive. Congratulations to both of you.
In first place, Wyatt Tamazen, and in second place, Landon Blackburn. Now in the ring, we will have the 4-H champion drive.
So I couldn't cut it. I asked him. Yeah, I asked him, he said no.
Oh no! I said don't wrap it this way. You can cut that. By all means, cut. We have scissors?
I, th- I think it's pretty easy when it comes to finding a champion out here. There's one that just ties everything together as far as muscle, style, and balance. Our heavyweight goat, he's going to be our champion. Just a really nice, complete type goat. If you would, give him a nice round of applause. becomes a little closer for reserve, but I think there's one that is a close pair to our champion as far as length of body and just maturity and still being youthful. Our second place goat in that class, he'll be our reserve. Congratulations to you.
Congratulations, your 4-H champion meat goat goes to Wyatt Tamazen. And your 4-H champion, reserve champion meat goat goes to Landon Blackburn.
Hey, you can feel the temperature dropping.
Now in the ring is the Supreme Champion Drive.
So we talk about a 4-H goat. Talked about that one an awful lot, but I just think there's a couple things, a few more things to mention. That one, if you truly evaluate him for what he is, he's still good. I know that one's pushing a little bit over a year, and I think that one's getting a little bit bolder in his body shape and a little lower in his chest. But that one's still ultra fresh in his top shape. He's really good in his loin. He's still youthful as far as his appearance goes. Just a really nice goat. The goat that was a close pair to him in second. Another one very youthful, long and extended. Good feature type goat. Really nice one there to be reserving that particular division. The goat that wins the FFA show, just a really nice goat. Real well balanced, good structured. Maybe not as bold in his rib shape compared to the one that wins the 4-H show, but I still think there's a lot of good of that one. I love the youthfulness of his neck and chest floor. I like the roundness of his body shape. That one maybe isn't as heavy muscle compared to the one that wins that 4-H show, but he's still really good in his muscle shape. He's still real fresh, and he's three-dimensional and has a good look to him. I really like the reserve FFA. If I could put the front legs of our 4-H goat on that one, I think we would have an easy champion. But his knee set and his hind leg set really bother me. When you set that goat into motion, that one gets a little bit weaker to his structural build, but I still love the body shape. I really like the three-dimensional look that one carries. Young lady does a good job getting that one presented as well. If you guys would, give him a nice round of applause, and I'll pick you a champion in reserve.
Congratulations, your Supreme Champion meat goat goes to Kimberlyn Alderman. And reserve Supreme Champion goes to Wyatt Tamazen.
Oh, absolutely. Okay. The banner. Thank you. Where's my buddy Wyatt? You got a family member I can help take all these awards to? Okay. Perfect. Kimberly.
Now entering the ring, we have our 4-H novice goat showmanship. Next up, we'll have junior showmanship. So if you are a junior 4-H showman, please make your way to the ringside.
We got two novice showmen out here, but you never guess it because they both do a really good job. Still a lot to learn, and I encourage you to come back and watch some of our FFA showmen and some of our more advanced showmen. But you two do a really good job, and I think honestly it's close between the both of you. I think there's just one showman that does a little bit better job getting the goat set up and getting the goat where it needs to be as far as a show goat is, and maybe a little bit calmer of a goat. The young man, he's going to be first, and the young lady is going to be second. Talking about the young man a little bit more, just simple things that I would like to see you young man change is I would like to see that doe in a chain instead of a halter, because when we set that girl into motion, we lose our control. That doe gets too far away from you, and we can't have that control with that halter, otherwise we get too much tension on them. I'm not a fan of a halter when it comes to showmanship. It's a very usable tool at home, but I think for the show ring atmosphere goes, we're way better off in a chain, and I think we could set that doe's head back over her shoulder and get her walked into her chest floor and make her look that much better, but you do a really nice job. Young lady that's second, you do a nice job as well. I think at times we get the nose of that doe up a little bit too high, and it correlates to the wrong feet placement off her rear leg. If we look down at our nose right now and we look down at her rear leg, we're offset exactly where it needs to be, and we don't want that. We want her to be square and pushing forward. But when you set that doe into motion, when she decides she's going to walk, you do as good a job as any, and I appreciate that. Just little things. I encourage you, like I said, to come back and watch some of these more advanced showmen, like the young lady that showed our champion, does a really nice job. Watch that kind of people, and you'll advance up to the next stage where you need to be. But congratulations to both of you. If you would, give them a nice round of applause.
Currently in the ring, we have our junior 4-H goat showmanship. Results from our novice division: in first place, Ruger Talbot, and in second place, Alina Berry. Congratulations. Our judge today is Justin Burns. Justin joins us from Galt, California, where he and his family own and operate J&J Livestock, focusing on show goats, sheep, and haired sheep. Justin has several years of experience in the industry, and let's give him a nice warm Bishop welcome.
I think everybody in here might have a little bit to learn, but the young lady that I land on, I think as far as her fundamentals go, she has the most going for her. She holds a head and nose and sets that neck the best out of anybody out here, and I appreciate that. Is that doe acting the best today? No, but I admire your composure that you keep. When she jumps up off the ground, you set her right back into where she needs to be, and you get her hind leg set, and she was the squarest and the best set out of any goat out here, and I appreciate that, and that's why you're going to go ahead and win the class. Young lady that comes second is very similar as far as show style as a young lady that wins, but at times I feel like we don't have the hind leg set just properly on that doe. We could get her neck set back over her shoulder, but I think you do a really nice job getting around the front of that doe and getting her set where she needs to be. Just little things that I'd like to see both of you guys change, but you guys do an excellent job to be first and second in this class. The young man that comes next does a really good job staying around the front of the goat. I think at just the way that we hold that head and neck is a little distracting. I know that the way that you're holding that halter, and I'm actually a fan of the way that we put that chain through so we have a little bit more connection to that head and neck. But I think we just need to get our hand away from the backside of his neck and get it off his pole and drive his neck back over his shoulder. And I think that would hold the center part of that goat's body up a little bit better and get that goat to drive a little bit better and square off his hind legs. But young man does an excellent job there as well. The young man that comes forth, honestly, you get this one moved around the ring as good as any. You do a really nice job. Where I run into a little bit of a distraction is your right leg wants to wrap too far around the side of that goat, and I'd like to shift your hips in front of that goat, get her neck set straight, get her nose set straight, and I think we would pick up her top line just a hair and keep her from walking over. Every time we make an adjustment to that doe, she wants to walk her hip over to the fence ever so slightly, and it's just a bit distracting. So just little things that I would like to see each and every one of you guys fix, but you guys definitely have the fundamentals down, and you guys are headed in the right direction. The exhibitors farther down the line, just talk to them individually about things that I would like to see them change. And sometimes, just like the young man with the older doe, she gets a little finicky, but just little things that I would like to see him change his hand placement as far as getting that one placed, get her head back over the top of her shoulder. But a good class of showmen from top to bottom. Give them a nice round of applause if you would.
In first place, Macy Olin. Second place, Rissa Fogarty. Third place, Landon Blackburn. Fourth place, Joseph Marshek. And in fifth place, Tommy Fogarty. Next in the ring, we will have the FFA Novice Showman. Currently in the ring are the FFA Novice Showmen. Next is FFA Advanced. Please be ready at ringside.
Two good novice showmen out here in our to start off our FFA showmanship. It gets pretty critical. I'm going to talk about the young lady in the front. Does a really nice job as far as body placement, getting around the front of that one. Every time she decides to jump up, she sets her right back down where she needs to be and tries to get the best control as she can. I think if we would just ease up on that girl just a little bit, get her nose down and get her set back where over the top of her shoulder, she'd probably settle in a bit. She's a little winded. She's probably a little bit hot. But we just need to get that one settled down just a notch better to make her look that much better in showmanship. Young lady that's behind her does a really nice job as well. At times we get this one's nose up in the air a little bit more. This one doesn't really want to set into motion. She goes, he's definitely not a leader. He's a follower. And sometimes in life, that's just what happens. There's leaders and followers. And this guy is definitely not a leader. But you know, as far as getting this one presented, she does a really nice job. I just want to see her fix his nose a little bit. So there's give and take on both of them, but I think the young lady in the front just does a little bit better job. She's going to be first, and the young lady with the red-legged goat's going to be second.
In first place, Brissa Gutierrez, and in second place, Ira Avalos. Next in the ring is FFA Advanced.
I didn't tell them about round one.
We're doing picture in picture. We're doing picture in picture now. So when you've got them this way, I've got that camera on the picture in picture.
Currently in the ring is the FFA Advanced Showmanship.
end up with three really good showmen out here. There's slight differences between them, but I'm going to leave them like they stand. The young lady in the white shirt with the painted hip goat, she's going to win. Is she perfect by any means? No, but has she had a good day and she knows fundamentals of getting livestock shown? Yes, she does a really good job. I'd like to straighten that guy up in the line. I'd like to get that guy to drive through his chest floor a little bit better. Even on our sheep, and it correlates to the goats, we need to pay just a tiny bit more attention to that front end assembly and make sure that they're square and bold and strong in their structure when they hit the ground. I think at times we want to stretch up their front end just a notch. It lowers their chest floor, and they want to push through themselves just a hair. But you do a phenomenal job just knowing fundamentals of good livestock and getting them shown. A really nice job. Congratulations to you. Young lady that comes in second, I love your style. I love the way you get the head and neck set right. Your hand placement is about perfect where I like to see it. At times, I think we just get that goat to overdrive and overstretch, and he falls out in his top line. But you do a really nice job getting that one shown and getting that one, your hand placement, and getting that one's neck and shoulder assembly set up where it needs to be. Nice job to you. The young man that comes third, I don't know what happened, but we fell apart when I talked to the individuals over here. I love your style for a young man. I think you do a really good job. You stand up straight. You do your best to get that one set where it needs to be. I think if we put a chain on that guy, we could get our hands just like the young lady in front of us, and we could tolerate that stuff when he starts to jump off the ground. We could have both hands on each side of his head and drive him back over his shoulder, and maybe we could have moved up a spot or two. But I think you do a really nice job, and I really admire your style. If you guys would, give him a nice round of applause. Good class of showmen from top to bottom.
In first place, Kimberlyn Alderman. Second place, Josie Peak. Third place, Ryan Olson. Fourth place, Sarah Faircloth. And in fifth place, Michael Booth. The next that we will have in this ring will be at 5 o'clock. We will start our dairy goat show. So we will see you all back here at 5.